All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Lyon here in the Credit Leverage X coaching call. Today, we're going to be learning how to flip land for massive profits, right? And I mean, the first question is always, why land, right? So I've personally had multiple wholesaling companies, and it was all real estate. And I'll be transparent with everybody. They were a pain in the ass. They never make as much money as all the other online gurus said they do. But while I was doing them, I did flip a couple of pieces of land and I made some serious money. Okay. So that's what kind of piqued my interest. I've also always just wanted to, I just want to own all the land, right? If you guys ever want to hear what I recommend you do with your money is, buy assets and make some money. Now, the difference between real estate, the main steps of a land flipping deal, though, is first you basically have to pick a market, right? So it can be anywhere in the country. You have to use this software called Freedom Soft. I'm gonna show you why I use Freedom Soft. You have to pull a list of interested sellers. You have to send out letters. We're going old school. There's a lot of other things we can do, like texts and emails and cold calling and stuff, but letters are the way to be right now. You're gonna receive responses. You're gonna send them offers. You're gonna do your due diligence on the land, and you're gonna be marketing the properties online. And then you're going to sell the land and you're going to close on the land. So you can actually wholesale the land, or you can just buy the land and own it. So why start a land flipping business though? Okay. Why land? Why not just go all in on real estate? Number one, vacant land. You don't need to do anything to the properties, right? That's the biggest thing. You don't need to worry about toilets. You don't need to worry about tenants. You don't need to worry about things breaking. You don't need to worry about the plumbing, the pipes busting. You don't have to do anything. It's land. It's beautiful. It has value on its own. And you can basically purchase it for a good deal. Raw land is a hands-off investment. Okay, so this means literally what's really cool about this is you can do this 100% remote, especially the way that I'm going to teach you. There's lots of people that flip land that don't even live in the US. They do it all from their laptop. They never go to look at these pieces of property, and you don't have to either, especially the way that I'm going to teach you. But statistically also, vacant landowners, they're very motivated to sell, right? If somebody has lived in a house for, their whole life, and then you're coming in there lowballing them on an offer, they don't want to sell their house because they're emotionally attached to the house. Whereas with land, these people probably bought the land like 10 years ago, never even look at it or use it anymore. And it just like reminds them of a stupid investment, right? So they're not attached to the property, which is why when we buy and we negotiate with them, there's not as much emotions, right? So it's a much easier deal than it is with a house, whereas a house has all these memories and all this other baggage, right? And you don't have people living in it, right? Land investors, there's very little competition for these deals, right? Real estate, super aggressive. Nobody's getting any deals. all the realtors that are working with investors, they all quit. Whereas with land, there's not as much competition because people just don't know about this. And they also don't see the light. They don't know how profitable land can be and how amazing land really is. Okay. Land investors, you're going to call your own shots, right? You don't have to deal with the banks. You don't have to deal with inspectors, contractors, realtors, the city, the county, the ordinance, any of that stuff. And you can start for very minimal capital, right? This is going to be something that when you guys get the funding, you can start this whole business up for very low, and you can even buy land on credit cards. Because I'm going to teach you guys how to buy land for 25 cents on the dollar, right? We're never going to pay top dollar for this land. It's always going to be severe, serious discounts when we buy this land. And then when you learn how to do research on the properties effectively, you can buy and sell vacant land without ever having to see it or go in person, like we talked about. So many powerful tools are available nowadays. You can just use Google Earth, and you can literally like see the whole property, and you can see the parcels, and you can understand the numbers, and you can see what's going on in the area, right? And you can do it all from your laptop. I mean, I still like going to see the land, but it's only if it's near me, right? And the way that I'm going to teach you guys how to buy land is you're only going to buy land in profitable areas, right? We're not just going to be buying land in the middle of Utah or something, where there's no action. We want to buy land where there's a lot of deals going on because we want to buy it and we want to sell it, and then we want to basically make our profits. And you can sell land a couple ways. You can sell land on seller financing, and you can start to create passive income with this strategy as well, right? So you buy the land, super discount, you put it on Facebook, Craigslist, you get a realtor, and you sell it to somebody on seller financing. So seller financing is essentially where they'll pay you whatever price you ask for, but they'll make monthly payments to you. So instead of the bank taking out a loan and then buying the property, you become the bank and you sell it to people on seller financing, right? So you can start to create massive passive income selling the property to people and getting this residual income where every month people will be selling you checks, sending you checks, paying your bills, right? And it's not going to be checks. Actually, it's 2023. They're just going to direct deposit. Anyways, but you can sell all this land on seller financing. So you can buy one of these lands on credit card for dirt cheap, sell it for way more. Like we've got a couple deals where you can buy them for like $2,000. You can sell them on seller financing for like 25 grand to these people. So every single month you'll start getting checks for like $250, $500, and then you can start to stack them up, right? So you get 9 or 10 of these, you've got completely passive income. And there will be some moments where in a couple of years, people actually start sending the last payment, right? But then you just keep the machine going, and you start to get more deals, and you start to put it more on seller financing, and you can start to really build this thing up. So it's either sell on seller financing or you're selling it for a massive profit, right? Because there's also developers. I mean, I think we all know that there's a lack of housing, especially affordable housing. So if you can find anywhere that you can find these deals near where people are already building properties, you're going to be making some good money, right? Because that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for either like places out in the sticks where, all the rednecks want to go and stash their guns before the government comes and get them, or we're looking for people where there's a lot of development. We're buying these little corner lots and we're selling them, right? So there's lots of different ways that we can go about this. Land is very inexpensive. And if you own it long term, there's no mortgage payment, there's no utility bills, there's no property management, so very low property taxes. Land gives its owner peace of mind, long-term tangible asset, right? And they're not making any more of it. That's what this little one down here at the bottom. Also, there's not stuff that people can steal, right? They can't they could burn down the trees on your land or something, but they can't really steal anything from the land that's worth anything, like unless there's gold or something. But then you own the rights to the land, so it's yours. Compared to a house, where people will rip out the copper wiring or burn it down or destroy your location to where it's useless. Land is much more. It's just going to hold its own, right? It's just dirt. Okay. And so the first thing is always going to be picking a market. So would you guys put in the chat a couple, like a state where you guys live? I'll show you guys how to basically pick a market. Because again, we're only going to pick a market where there's profits, where there's money. Okay. Sorry, I gotta get a coffee. All right. And then we're going to go to good old landwatch.com. I was actually looking up Austin, Texas, and a bunch of other weird little areas that I'm kind of interested in. But this is basically how you do it, right? So you come to Landwatch, and it breaks basically right when I want to show you. All right, cool. So you come to Landwatch. What we got? We got Maryland. Let's look at Maryland. I haven't looked at Maryland. Okay, so Maryland. And here, if we just look at land. So basically, we want to basically find areas that have the most action. Okay, so I'm actually going to just pick all of these. I'm going to pick available. I'm going to pick sold. I'm going to pick everything. And we just want to know like what areas and states have the most properties that are being sold. And then we want to basically only pick acres that are between 1 and 20 acres, right? We don't need to go for, like, right now we're just starting out. We don't need to go huge. We don't need to have like a ton of crazy massive land lots unless that's your thing. But 1 to 20 acres is fair. And actually, I want to make it a minimum of 1 because I don't want anything less than that. So 1 to 20 acres, and I'm also going to do 0 to 150,000, right? Because I'm looking to lowball some people. I'm not looking to buy a $200,000 piece of land and be stuck with it. I want pieces of land that I can move pretty quick. So we're looking for 0 to 150,000, 0 to 1 to 20 acres. And then we're going to see right here, these are all the states that have the most action. So Texas, I don't know why that number seems super big, but also Texas is massive. So there's a lot of land being sold in Texas. And then it's Florida, North Carolina, California, Arizona, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, right? These are the most active states. Okay. And then we said we would look at Maryland. Let's see. So we click on Maryland. And then we'll look at another state too. But once you click on Maryland, you're going to come down here and you're going to pick a county. Okay. So like, especially if you're doing this for yourself, you're going to want like 2 to 4 counties that you're going to try and be aggressive in. So the most booming county is this one called Charles County. And I don't know if I would necessarily do any deals here, but let's take a look. And then what I also like to do is I like to just sort by lowest to high, right? And then we can kind of get a feel for what's going on in the area. Okay. So that means that There's only been 90 deals in the last month, little bit, but we picked this county, so it's called Charles County. So now we're gonna actually go to Zillow, and I'm moving pretty quick. I apologize, but let's look up Charles. We'll do another one though, so you guys can get an idea of what I'm doing. I just want to show you the whole process and why this is a good one. And I don't know if this is the best county for an example, but let's look at Charles County because we looked at all of Maryland, and this location is the #1 land location. And look, people are buying them for $2,000, and then there's other pieces of property that are selling for $15K, $50K, $38K, $50K, $35K. So that means if we can get one for $2,000 in this area, it could sell for $35,000 to $50,000, right? That's a pretty good profit margin, in my opinion. So anyways, you put the county that you want to look in, you click on sold, you go to home type, you only want to look at the land, and then you basically want to say 1 to 20 acres, and has sold in the last 6 months. Okay, so there's been a ton of competition, and there's only 34 results for this area, right? So 34 is pretty low, but out of all of Maryland, this would be the most profitable area that you could start making offers. And again, what's crazy is, as you can see, there's a big price difference here. So, and this is all in such a small area. This might actually be a really good market. Who knows? But you could offer everybody like, $2,000 to $10,000 for a plot out here. And then look, as the price goes up on this section, the ones that are being sold up here are $100,000 lots, and they're all within like a small area of each other. And I'm sure this area is booming because look at this, right on the river and stuff. So this might actually be a really good little honey hole, right? So let's try it. Let's do one more though, so because I want to pick a different state. What's another state you guys want to take a look at? Let me look in the chat. Indiana, New York, Texas, PA. Let's look at Indiana. It's always the weird ones that you have no idea. Indiana has actually got some pretty good lots. Okay, so we did Indiana, and it looks like Brown County is going to be the most profitable county. And you would probably want, I mean, just from my experience, I probably want at least 100 plus, right? So Brown County might be the only one that I'd be really interested in taking a look at. And then that's because there's a Nashville, Indiana. I clicked on the right state, right? Okay, so Brown County, Indiana. So let's go back up here. Let's take a look. Look in Brown County, Indiana. It looks like it's just right in the middle. It looks like there's a lot of trees though. So this is a very like heavily wooded area near Indianapolis. Wait, is this Indianapolis? I'm confused now. Am I in the right state? I am in the right state. All right, cool. But then there's only 18 results. So compared to Maryland, there's half of the amount. But land is going for quite a bit. So like there's one here for 8,000, right? And then everything else is like way above. So if you just sent out a pretty good list to these guys, and you could get something for under 20,000, you'd probably be able to make a massive profit. And again, a lot of this land, like people have bought this a long time ago. They're old, they're retired, they didn't do anything with the land, and they just want to probably get some money and wash their hands of it, make a little profit, right? So you can get a really good deal. Let's try and find one that's super busy though, because this is, so we were just kind of messing around, but now I want to show you like how I really want you to think about it if you're going to really try and make a profit, right? So out of these top 3, let's look at North Carolina. Okay, so Texas, it says they've had 31,000 deals lately. North Carolina, though, is always a very good place to do real estate. So let's take a look at North Carolina. Let's see what the action is like. So in Cherokee County, there's been 437 deals, right? So let's click on Cherokee County. And I'm going to look that up again in Zillow, and then we'll move on from this. But I think this is pretty cool. So Cherokee County, I don't know how to spell Cherokee County, North Carolina. See, and then this is in the last 6 months, like I said, there's been 247 deals in Cherokee County that have sold. And look at these. These are all, there's $1,000 deals. These are all very cheap. So you could probably buy a couple acres down here for dirt cheap. And then it's right on the border of South Carolina. Oh, so right on the border of Georgia and South Carolina. So right, Atlanta's right there, Nashville's right there, Birmingham's right there, Knoxville's right there, Chattanooga. Ooh, this is a money spot right here for sure. And there's a lot of water going through here. But you can see like the thing that we were looking at is right here. In the last 6 months, there's been 247 results. So that means in the last 6 months, 250 pieces of land have been sold in this area, according to Zillow, right? And then we can actually make that even smaller, and we can look at the last 90 days. So in the last 90 days, 127 results which is pretty wild. 90 days, guys. That's 3 months. There's been 100 different deals in this area. And they range from $500 all the way up to, I mean, right now, the highest one on this page is 25 grand. Imagine if you got a piece of land though for $500 and you sold it for 25 grand. Like there's definitely money to be made here. And this is how you can eliminate, because like the whole goal of me teaching you what counties to look at is so that if you're doing a deal virtually, you make money, right? If you go back to one of these counties that we looked at where there's just no deals going on, and every state, like, so if you did like Brasstown, or not Brasstown, but like every state has a bunch of different counties, right? So you're going to want to pick a county because we're going to do something, but there's usually about 30 counties. So if you went to Yancey County, there's only been 36 deals, right? Or one of these other ones. And that's just not going to be enough. You're going to be buying the land unless you get a crazy good deal, but no one's going to want to buy it. So you want to find areas that have a lot of action in them. Okay. That's the key thing that I'm just trying to show you is like, if there's a lot of deals going on there, you're in a money spot and you're good. Now you just need to get some property under contract and you're going to be good to go. Okay. So that was a lot, but that's how you pick a market, right? So you go to LandWatch and then you go to Zillow, you pick counties that have the most action. And when I say action, it's like the most opportunities, right? The most available, the most for sale, everything. Okay. And then you filter those down to 1 to 20 acre lots. You pick 2 to 3 states that you want to do it. And then you pick the top 10 counties out of those 2 to 3 states. All right. Then you go to Zillow. You can also do this on Redfin. I didn't show you guys Redfin, but you can also do the same thing on Redfin. And then out of those 10 counties, you're going to pick 2 to 6 of them, or even 2 to 4. All right. And then you're going to validate the counties with this software called Priced. And this is what I use at least. So I like Priced because it's how I'm able to go beyond just the stuff. So where do we look? We looked at North Carolina, right? So let's take a look at North Carolina. So we actually want to do Cherokee County, North Carolina. Go to price. Actually, I'm going to remove these things. But what's really cool is you can get very detailed with it. Actually, let me see if I can make this like 5 filter. Okay, so according to this stuff, North Carolina, there's actually 38 different counties that meet this criteria. So I basically said, hey, let's look up North Carolina. Doesn't matter what the acreage is, but I want to look at comps, sold comps greater than 200. And then I want to see field filter type sold this is basically sold for sale ratio greater than 5%, 0.5%. So that I want to actually boost this up. And basically what this one is saying is the amount of properties that are for sale. What is the amount of deals that are actually selling, right? So I did it to 8%. Now there's only 30. And then I want to find somewhere where there's days on market are less than 200. So let's see if we can actually find a county where the days on market are less than 100 days. 0. So what about 150? Run filter. So there's 11 counties, right? So we went from 36 to 11 counties in North Carolina, and North Carolina has the most action out of anything. So let's see if I can do 9%. I want to find the best county in North Carolina. So that's basically what I'm going to do. What about 120 days? Probably not going to work anymore. 2 counties. Okay. So we found 2 counties that the comps are greater than 200. The ratio is like 0.9, which means out of every property that is listed for sale, 0.9 of them are going to sell right away, which is crazy. Days on market is only 120 days. These are some money counties, right? So let's just take a look at the county on Zillow real quick. And I'm just kind of running comps, and this is how you pick a market, right? So you don't have to make it super complicated, but you just have to want to find the ones that have the most action and that are making a lot of money. Yeah. So this is like on the ocean, Myrtle Beach, tons of deals, 191 deals in the last 90 days compared to whatever the other county we were looking at in North Carolina, where it was 131, right? So this one is actually the most action according to price. Yeah. And basically this is just crazy. So this is where I would probably target, because there's literally something sold, and this is what investors bought these properties for, right? This is not what you're going to be selling them for. This is like what we're going to try and buy them for, which is very cheap. And this is like very recently that there's a lot of action going on in this area, and there's a lot of development, and you can see why. These are all near the ocean, right? And if you basically, everybody wants to live near the ocean. So, and there's not enough houses, and North Carolina has plenty of space for building properties. So you can buy some of these lots. You basically want to be very cheap, but now we found some winning markets that we really want to go after. And we know that if we buy a piece of land there, we're going to be able to sell it, and we're going to have people that are super interested in it. Okay. And now we're going to go on to the next step. Okay. So the next step is called Freedom Soft. Now, this is the whole like secret of why this business model is so cool. Okay. Because, I'm running the Credit Leverage X. I've got a couple other businesses. Like, I don't have time to cold call every single day. I don't have time to do a lot of stuff, right? So you basically just need like one good virtual assistant, and you need this system. Okay. So to set up Freedom Soft, you do have to have an LLC, just because if you don't, you have to register your phone numbers with the laws, right? It's all of these marketing campaigns. You now have to register your LLC in order to have a phone number. Otherwise, your phone number will automatically be marked as spam. We don't want that. Freedom Soft is just a CRM for real estate, but I like it because what happens is we basically get a virtual phone number, right? We set up a voicemail. Okay, we set up a campaign and we link the phone number to the campaign. So this is kind of confusing, but it's like basically we need somewhere for these people to call, because the way that we're going to be doing this is we're going to be sending out these letters to these people. I'll see if I can show you guys the letters real quick. Basically, we're going to be sending out letters, and they're going to be calling into Freedom Soft. And inside of Freedom Soft, they're going to basically be tracking the CRM, right? So let me see if I can find the neutral letter real quick. Okay, so this is what it looks like, right? And this is just, all right, this is the contract. Here's the neutral letter. So instead of basically cold calling or emailing or running Facebook ads or Google ads, we're going old school with this route. And it's because it's land. That's why we're doing this, because this works, right? As opposed to all that other stuff where everybody else right now is doing a lot of intense marketing. We're going to go back to the basics, okay? And we're going to be sending out these letters. And literally what happens is they'll receive this letter in the mail, right? And it says, "Dear seller's name, I'm writing you because the public records shows that you're the owner of such and such acres in this county in this state, and I'm interested in purchasing your property. If you would like to receive cash in exchange for your property, please call or text our 24-hour recorded voicemail." Okay. And then this is where you would put the phone number from Freedom Soft. And the phone number is basically going to be the thing that they call, and that's all you're going to have to worry about. So basically you pull a list, you pick a county, right? You pull the list of people that own properties, you send letters to them. This letter right here specifically, this letter has a phone number on it. If they're interested in selling their land, they're going to call you. Okay. That's huge. This is how you can make passive income from land and not have to do all the crazy heavy lifting. You're literally going to be just send enough letters, right? And that you're going to basically have them call into you and say, "Hey, I do want to sell my land. What do you think you want to do?" Okay. And then once they basically call that phone number and leave a message, they're going to tell you what the letter reference ID is. Okay. Let me see if I can find a different one of these letters too, because I have a couple samples. Okay. So here's kind of like an example of what the letters look like as well. So you can send letters or you can send postcards. It doesn't really matter. But you basically say, "Please call our pre-recorded hotline, blah, 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 and tell us this reference number." Okay. So this is how we track it though. So they're going to call the reference number. They're going to basically say, "Hey, this is such and such. You said you were interested in my property. My reference number is Jack 1500. Let me know if you're interested in." Okay. So we pick a market where there's a ton of action, like this one that we said in North Carolina, like there's over 193 deals sold in the last day or in the last 90 days. We send letters out to all of the landowners in this area. And we basically say, "Hey, if you're interested in selling your land, call this number and I'll send you an offer." Like this is awesome, right? I don't know if anybody's ever done real estate like I have, but instead of you having to call everybody, talk to every real estate agent, do all this crap, you literally just send mail and then they call you saying, "Hey, I want to sell my property." It's awesome. It's amazing. Okay. And it's going to all be inside of your CRM with Freedom Soft. And you're going to basically be able to start to really ramp this business up and build this thing out. Okay. So let's go back to, I was here. So that was basically how you set it up with Freedom Soft. Okay. But you basically just need a phone number, and it's basically just a glorified voicemail, right? But you need a place to track and hold on to all your deals. Okay. So you set up a virtual number, you set up the voicemail. Let me see if I can show you guys kind of what the voicemail should look like. Sorry, I have all these different things for this presentation, like I said. So Freedom Soft, mail merge, scrub data. You guys don't need to see what the voicemail says, but it basically says, hey, this is such and such. Thank you for calling. Please let me know what your reference number is, and we'll get back to you with an offer shortly. And that's basically what you're going to do, though, is you're just going to call these guys. As soon as they opt in, they're going to call you and say they want to sell their land. You're going to do your due diligence, right? And you're going to start to figure out, hey, we got some responses now. What are we going to do? We got to run some comps, and we're going to go back to what we were doing on Zillow, and we're going to decide, hey, do we actually want to buy this property, right? Do we actually want to make them an offer and basically make things happen? So let's just go back, though, because I got kind of ahead of myself. But I want you guys to see the whole picture, because this is awesome. This is how you can passively start to buy properties. Okay, and then you're going to optimize. And basically what you do is you use that software that I just showed you on Priced. You would pull a list from there. And that's going to tell you what lands you want to buy. I'm just going to mess around with Price real quick, actually, because it's pretty awesome. But Price is just a software for us to figure out, hey, what price should we do for these people? So let me go back to this. Go to Price land, and click Price land. And we're going to pick a county. So let's just see if we can actually, I've got one I want to look at anyways. So the one that I'm going to send out my next marketing campaign is going to be in Arizona. The heck's it called? Coconino County, Arizona, right? And then we got lots of different property, desert land, but let's just take a look at what it says in here. So Coco County in Arizona. We're going to search. And now this is looking at all the different parcels of land in this county. And then we're just going to basically tell it what we really want to do, parameters, and then you can pull a list from here, and we'll be able to send letters and that'll be the next step. So I know there's a lot of moving pieces, but trust me, compared to other real estate stuff, this is super easy. So, and this is where you can adjust the price, because this is what's cool about Price. They're literally going to tell you how much you should offer it. And we're never going to offer more than 25% unless we're in like LA, or probably if we were in this like place in California or in North Carolina where we know things are moving, we would probably adjust it to, maybe 30% of the price of what we should offer. Okay. But in Arizona, I'm only going to offer 20%. 19%. No, let's do 20%. Okay. And then you basically can click all this, and then you can want to pick a couple things. So this is what's cool about Price is you can base the price on the county, you can base the price on the city, or you can base the price on geo pricing, right? So these are really kind of fancy, but you can basically do it. And it's literally telling me, hey, this is what your offer price should be, $245 per acre, right? So a lot of these parcels are going to have a lot of acres. Data tree, owner, state, acreage, right? Offer price. And basically you're just going to click continue. And then now you're going to pick all these different things that you kind of want more stuff, because you want to scrub the files, right? I'm just going to leave all these on here and click continue. And then this is the big thing. I don't want any church owners. Wait, save configure custom scrub filter. Please check filter you would like to use with fire data. No, I don't want any church owners. I don't want any government owners. I don't want any trustee owners. Last purchase price is always kind of interesting. Let's click this. Enter add. I don't want to do it. Let's just go to the next chapter. Sort expert resources, file label, and then you can basically scrub the letter. But the only thing I wanted to show you that it didn't pop up. But you basically want to only target people who are out of state. Okay, that's another really big deal. You only want to go for the people that live out of the state and that own the property for at least 10 years, right? So that's like one thing that makes this deal even better is I'm only sending mail to people that own the land for more than 10 years and don't even live in the same state as the land. Okay. That makes it almost like a slam dunk, guaranteed to get some people. Okay. So basically now I showed you how to pull the list. You basically pull the list from Price, and you're going to take a look at a couple of these different mailers. Okay. So these mailing companies, they'll basically send the letters for you. And what you do is with Price, you basically pull that big list, you export it into a spreadsheet, and you basically just give the spreadsheet to these guys. They'll write the letters for you and mail them out for you. They're not the cheapest things. This one is actually the cheaper one. So if you want to go with these guys, let me see. And they'll actually send the letters for you, and you can either do, like I showed you guys before, you can either do postcards. Let me see where the hell that postcard went. You can either do postcards like this, or you can do the neutral letters. I recommend the neutral letter, and you guys will have access to all these different resources inside of Credit Leverage X, by the way. But the neutral letter is just super cool. letter. This is for actually if you want to buy the property. This is if you want to have the option to buy the property. So here's the neutral letter. Again, so we just send this out. We don't tell them a price at all, right? We basically are just sending this out to one of these counties that has a lot of landowners that we know there's a lot of action. And we want to see, hey, who's actually interested in selling me their land? Okay. And then they're going to call us in. They're going to give us their ID reference number. And then we're going to send them an offer. All right. So that's the next step is basically send the letters. All right. There's click to mail. And then I think I already showed you guys the different letters. Yeah. So here's the same letter. And then there's a variety of different letters that you guys can send. So you can either send postage. Postcards are actually a little cheaper than the sending of the letters. But I feel like people who open the letters are a little higher quality. But either one, whatever you want to do, you can send these out in bulk, and then they'll call your recorded hotline. And then now you have them in your CRM and you start collecting leads, right? So there's a little bit of a lag time. Once you send it out, you got to wait like 1 to 2 weeks for it actually to show up in their mailbox. And then you'll start getting some calls, which is amazing. Okay. And then the next step is going to be receiving and responses. Okay. So now let's say somebody has sent us a call and they're in our CRM and they say, yeah, I want to sell my property. What do you want to do? So you're going to be receiving these letters via voicemail and text. And once you get their information, now they're a lead. Now we have like an actual person who owns an actual property from one of our campaigns. Now we need to make them an offer. Okay. And the way to make them an offer is you're basically going to run your own comps, right? So you're going to look at all the properties in the area and you're going to basically say, hey, this is what I'm really willing to pay for your property. And you're going to piss some people off, right? Because we're only going to be paying 25 cents on the dollar. We're never going to be paying top dollar for these properties because we're investors and we need to get these properties at a severe discount. So you're basically going to figure out what that price is going to be, what's a fair offer, and you're going to send that back and you're going to see what they say. And I always recommend you either if you send it via email or like whenever they opt in, you're going to have their phone number. So you can text them, you can call them, you can send them an email, and you can send them mail because you know that they actually read their mail. Now it's just basically time to negotiate the deal. How can we make this deal so good that they're willing to sell it? And then what can we do? This is the same one. But this is what the actual contract says. Okay, say, dear seller, thank you for responding to my direct mail. And again, like you don't have to call them or text them, especially if you want to make this like part-time, you can just send them another letter. They called back. They said they want to sell their property. Now you're going to send them a couple letters that say how much you're willing to sell it for. Okay. I would like to buy your property at this county. After doing some research, we are willing to offer you the following for your property. And then you put the price, whatever that is. We are a real estate investment company and pride ourselves on professional and trouble-free transactions with seller satisfaction in mind. We will pay all the associate costs of completing this transaction, including back taxes and stuff. And if you don't want to pay the back taxes or whatever, or you want to wholesale this, you can just delete this sentence. It doesn't really matter. The price we agree upon is the amount of the cashier's check you will receive. If you are interested in selling it, simply sign the attached purchase agreement, follow the instructions at the bottom of this letter. Feel free to contact me at whatever, just put your phone number there, not the Freedom Soft one, but your real phone number. Kind regards, signature, investor's name, investor phone number. Okay. And then they literally are going to come down here and look at the purchase agreement, and you could literally close land deals without ever talking to these people. They basically call your voicemail. They say they're interested. You send them an offer. And if they buy it, they sign it, and then you send them a cashier's check. It's just like boom, boom, boom. So crazy. Obviously, you still have to go to a title company and stuff like that. But this is just like amazing. Okay. And then like, here's how we can actually make this into our own money. Like, let's say we're not interested in buying and owning the land, right? We just want to flip it for a profit. So in all of our contracts, you see right here, it says closing will be within 90 days of the agreement being accepted. Okay. This means that we have 90 days to do our due diligence and to basically sell it to somebody else for a higher profit. Okay. But the main thing is that you get them to sign the agreement for the price that you say, and then you can assign the contract to somebody else and you can flip it for a profit. So let's say we get them to sell it to us for $2,000. The minute that we know that we're going to do that, we can put it on Facebook. We can put it on Craigslist. We can put it on Zillow. We can find a real estate agent and we could sell it for $20,000, right? Or we could sell it for $20,000 on seller financing and set up in a payment. So then by the time that we actually basically close on the deal, we already have someone who's going to purchase it and we're going to make a profit. Okay. So if you don't have any idea what you're going to do with the land, you essentially have 90 days to try and market the property to see if you can get somebody to sell it. And even at the end of the 90 days, you can still back out for whatever reason you want. Okay. Closing will extend 30 days. Buyer requests a performance. So if you want to keep doing your due diligence, you can add another 30 days. Property is sold as is. Seller cannot provide clear title. So if the seller doesn't have the actual title or any of that stuff, then obviously the contract is void. Boom, boom, boom. Anyways, land is a lot easier to sell than real estate. That's kind of the point of this. And it's a lot easier to flip, right? Which is super powerful. Okay. So you've done your due diligence. You figured out what price, you've emailed it or mailed it back to them. You've negotiated the deal. Now it's more of like, hey, now that we have a contract, we have a price, let's actually do some more due diligence, right? Because with land, you want to make sure that you can actually access it. That's kind of a big thing. I mean, you can still send land that's not accessible, but people will probably at least want to be able to four-wheel there or do some hunting or something on it. You know what I mean? You want to see if there's any HOAs. Typically, I don't want to buy any land with anything that has to do with HOAs. Another thing that we look at is flood plans. So sometimes there's land, and the reason that it's for sale is because it's in a flood area and it's seasonal. So if anybody were to build the house on it, every now and then they would just get completely flooded out. So that means that the property isn't that very good. You want to see how much the taxes are on the property, and you want to see who's on the title. A lot of the times people pass away and they leave land to their children, and their children don't even know how to get their name on that title. So you have to go through some situations, and sometimes it's owned by an LLC. Anyways, you just want to figure out who's actually on the title. You want to see if there's any liens on the property. Typically with land, though, there's not going to be very many liens unless they really screwed up. And then for utilities, you want to see if there's any water, sewage, electricity, because that's going to up the value, right? So these are all how you do your own due diligence. And you can do all of these on Google and just looking up at the property. Okay. And then now that you have the property under contract, again, I showed you guys, we have 90 days to market the property. So as soon as you know that this seller is going to sell it to you, you got 90 days before you put any money into the deal to try and sell it yourself for a profit. 90 days is a long time, especially if you're on your shit and you know what you're doing. You can sell it on Facebook. You can sell it on Craigslist. You can even list it yourself on Zillow. You can basically partner with other land investors, right? There's a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of just groups in general where they're all about real estate and they want to buy more land and they want to buy more stuff. You can reach out to Gino, see if he wants it. You can find some realtors. You can run a campaign on developers, right? So you can literally go to Google and look at all the home developers in your area and start reaching out to them and say, hey, I've got this property. Are you looking for another project? I've got a good deal, right? And the developers are the ones that are going to pay big money because they could build a house on that land and sell it for, $1 million or whatever it is. You can also just pull a list of buyers. So you can actually just look at who has been buying a lot of land in that area recently, and you can just start to reach out to them. Okay. So you have 90 days if you want to just basically flip the property without ever putting a dime into it. Okay. And now you have to close the deal. All right. So you have to agree on the terms of the land, right? What are the terms going to be? How much is it going to cost? Blah, blah, blah. You have to sign the contracts. Everybody has to be on the same page. You got to find a title company. We have a couple title companies that are nationwide, but I always recommend, if you're going to be doing business in a state, find a local one and find a couple. And you're just going to have to call and talk to these title companies and make sure they're not BS, because nothing kills a deal faster than having a shitty title company. Okay. Money goes into escrow. The deal is now closed. All right. You now own that land. Right. And remember, we're buying this on serious discounts. So you guys will be able to buy it on credit cards or loans or whatever you need to do. And then you can either sell it on just flip it for way more profit. You could have already wholesaled it to somebody else, or you can try and sell it on seller financing and start to get that passive income. And you're going to be able to, scale your business to the next level. So I think I just basically fire hosed you with like a ridiculous amount of information, but I'm super excited. I hope that came through, and I hope you guys have a cool idea of how this whole process can work for you and how you can maybe start flipping land and making money in real estate a fairly easy way. Okay. So I know that was a long one, but let me know if you guys have any questions, and we can kind of go over some stuff, or we can kind of just open it up to a Q&A. What do you guys think? Bom, bom, bom. Wasn't that cool though? I'm excited, man.
That was very interesting. Like you can buy, like I didn't realize you could buy land for like $500.
Yeah, no, and you're looking for those deals. You're only looking for those diamonds in the rough that are dirt cheap. And you want to find it though. You don't want to just buy random land. You want to like do the research of the that there's a lot of deals in that area. And then you want to go out there and you want to blow these people up and try and get the land for as cheap as possible.
So like especially the ones near the water, that's why they go up high. They're more
Well, yeah, I mean, if you build a
there's more
house
value.
near the ocean, it's going to be $1 million house. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know how much North Carolina is, but it's going to be more expensive than anything else. And I mean, a lot of these cities are always building and always growing, you know? So if anything, you could just buy these lands for dirt cheap, sit on them for a little while and wait for the city to build out. And then someone's going to want to put, you know, a subdivision there, an apartment or a mall or something. And then you're going to make a lot of money. But I like the idea of, you know, constantly getting the properties, selling them on seller financing, because then you start to get checks every single month on these land deals that you got for dirt cheap, and you can basically create passive income that way. So anyways, that's what I'm doing.
Seller
So
financing so if you sell them on seller financing,
yeah, if you sell them on seller financing,
seller
you're the
financing,
bank.
but like they'll just
My bad, you're cutting out. But the way that it works is like, let's say you buy a piece of land for $2,000, right? And then you say, hey, I will sell this to somebody for $20,000 on seller financing. The terms are $250 a month. Okay. So then until that person pays the full 20,000, you're going to be receiving a check for $250 every single month for this land that you've never been to, never even seen, that you only paid like $2,000 for. And you're going to have a contract that they have to keep paying. And if for whatever reason they stop making payments, you'll still own the property, right? You can make it very much in your favor and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And then a lot of people, they'll buy these lands for hunting, or they're going to go build their hippie commune on them or whatever they want to do, right? And that's kind of how you can do it. So that's pretty sick. What other questions you guys have?
Can you explain again the 90-day window we have? So from the minute we sign on the contract, all parties agree. We have 90 days to flip, do whatever we want to do with it before we literally pay up all the money. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's if you're just going to wholesale it, you can do that. And what's cool about land is you can make it 120 days if you wanted to. It's whatever you can really negotiate. But I want to make sure I have 90 days to do my it's called the due diligence period, but you technically have it under contract for that price, right? So whatever the price is that you can agree, you now have it under contract for that price. So that means that you can legally sell it to somebody else for more money. And that's what wholesaling is all about. You're literally just flipping that piece of paper, right? So you get under contract for $2,000. You can start marketing it for 90 days before you ever pay that $2,000, right? And then whenever you want to close that deal, you'll basically find the buyer. You'll tell the buyer, hey, it's $20,000. And you basically bring everybody to the closing table at escrow, and they're going to basically get their price, right? You're going to buy it for 2,000. They're going to pay 18 grand to you, or 20,000 to you. So you make $18,000 profit, right? And you basically just do it all very transactional, and you don't have to do any of that stuff. That's what the escrow is for. And that's what the title company is for. So basically the buyer's money goes into escrow. You sign the contract, you own the contract, you get paid by escrow, right? And that's kind of how it works. But you have 90 days to do your due diligence. But again, the cool thing that you guys will learn, and especially for me, when it comes to real estate, is once you know all this stuff, you can make the contracts say whatever you really want the contracts to say that you guys can agree on, right? That's the big thing about real estate that nobody really tells you, is whatever you and the person that owns the deal can negotiate and get down in writing, you can basically run with, right? But that's how you can start to do these deals without ever putting any money into it. And you can find these deals, like the way that I showed you is just how I like to do it, because again, I don't want to cold call all day or send tons of text messages. Like, I just want to have this automated system where people are literally calling me and saying, hey, I want to sell my land, right? So that's why I have it set up. And you can actually send offers as well in those letters, right? So in the letters, the ones that I showed you, it's a neutral thing. It's just like, hey, are you interested in selling, right? So then you're going to get a lot of responses from people, and then you're going to lowball them and they're going to be pissed off. You could also just pick a county, see what the average price is per acre, and then just send out offers, like dirt cheap offers. And then you'll also pick up deals that way too. But whatever, that's basically how you can wholesale it. Does that make sense? Or do you have any more questions about that?
Yeah, that's good. The other part of that question is as well, for the title company. The title company has to be in that state where the land is, right?
There's a couple title companies actually. Let me see. So these guys are nationwide, national title company. And you can that's how you figure out what the county is. But this company, sorry, so they're called Clothesline. And they're a good company. But I like if I'm going to do business in a state, like I've already got my title company that I like in Colorado, Arizona, California, even in Alabama, I have my title company. And it's just good to have a relationship with your title company if you're doing a lot of deals. So just because they'll be able to tell you stuff, they'll be able to work with you. And like the reality is when you're selling and buying real estate, getting everybody to finally get to that closing table is a lot like herding cats sometimes. So it's just good to have a title company that you can call on the phone and like figure out what's going on. But there can be national title companies. You can use that one. That's just one example. So that's pretty cool. Cool.
Another question. So I noticed when you were flipping through Indiana, because I'm from Indiana and we're looking at Brown County, while you
Yeah.
were flipping through it, I realized that a lot of the lands that we're looking at were literally sold within the last 4 to 6 months. Are those
Yeah.
candidates for reselling, for buying again? Because I would assume that whoever bought those lands in that time have bought it at a discount and are selling and would sell it at a not so discount price. So are we looking for land that has been sitting for a while, has not been sold for a while, rather than those lands that you were flipping through that said sold on June, sold in July, that kind of stuff?
No, we're definitely looking for like I said, when I pull that list, I'm looking for people who have owned the land for like 10 years plus. So like they didn't just buy it, because if they just bought it, they're still excited about it. We want people who have forgotten about the land and like doesn't even care about it anymore. And we want to send those people an offer. And like the reason that the marketing works so well is we're sending people who bought the land a long time ago and they do not live in the same state. Okay, that's like the easiest way to narrow down our marketing as opposed to just everyone in the whole county. We just want to find those few people that bought the land a long time ago and don't even care about the land anymore or don't live near the land anymore.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then we sell it to the people that are actively buying it, or developing on it or doing whatever. And that's just like you can target the whole county, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Like I just want to find like it's either a pain point, like they have to sell because they need the money, or they just don't care about it anymore. Like a lot of people bought this land back in the day, and it's the metaphor that I use is like it's like when you buy that treadmill, and then it just kind of sits there and now everybody just hangs their clothes on it, and it just reminds you about why you should be working out still and stuff. Like that's what a lot of these people did is they bought the land and it's just something that's just there that they don't really care about anymore. Those are the people that they just want to get some money and get out of the deal,
Okay.
What software or platform are you using when the leads are coming in for the CRMs?
Yeah, it's called Freedom Soft. So that's the new one. And I'm going to have a whole video on how to set up Freedom Soft inside the course. It's actually getting edited right now, but it's just another CRM, but I like them because as soon as somebody calls, they'll be able to leave a voicemail. And then as soon as they leave that voicemail, now you have like what land they want to buy, their phone number, their name. And you can text them, you can email them, you can call them all from Freedom Soft, and you can run comps inside of Freedom Soft. So Freedom Soft is the new CRM that I'm using. And then yeah, and like this was kind of like an intro. I know it was a lot though. I kind of like laid it all out there, but inside of Credit Leverage X in the real estate investing stuff, I'm gonna make a full course on this whole process. And I know this is just I'm excited about this. I want to own all the land and all the guns, and then I'm gonna go hide my guns on the land. Or I'm probably just going to flip it. I'm mostly interested in making a profit, getting some of that passive income, but then also I want to make enough money from this where if I do find certain land that I really want to buy, I can just buy it outright and own it myself. And now I own that. And then everything else can just keep flipping, keep bringing in money until I find more property that I really want to like. But I love this business because you're buying an asset, like they're not making any more land, and you're finding it at such a steep discount that it's almost just a no-brainer for anybody. You know what I mean? That's why I like this business. And as long as you're staying in business and staying making money, you're going to keep finding these crazy deals. And eventually they're like, it's not unheard of for people to make $100,000 on one land flip, right? It's very, very, very doable. You just got to basically be in the business of doing this kind of stuff. And also like, the reason I really started land is because real estate just got really dumb for a while. Like it was just super competitive, super overpriced. The prices just keep going up. So I was like, I got to do something else. And land is that something else that I found. And I'm kind of happy about it because it's not as competitive. Literally, people are calling me to sell their house. Whereas for real estate, I've got to call people like 20 times before they'll even talk to me and get cursed out every day. You know what I mean? So that's why this is just a different way of doing real estate that I'm excited about. And I'm going to start using the same mailing technique potentially for real estate, but we'll see how that works. You know, I'm mostly just going to do land for a little while, but I like the way where I send out letters and then they call me and say, yes, I want to sell. Then it's just such an easy conversation. Anybody have any other questions? I know that was a lot, but I'm excited about this stuff. So I really wanted to bust this out for you guys. And then I like the finding the different areas. Again, like you can do it in your backyard, but I would more highly recommend that you do it virtually somewhere where there's just a lot of action going on, you know, because then you know you'll have some money to be made. Cool. So that was the hour. Any other thoughts or any other questions before we wrap up?
How soon is this going to be on the course?
This one's it just has to get edited. So my editor works Monday through Friday. So probably sometime next week. And then I'm gonna have the Freedom Soft video sometime next week, hopefully, also. And then just how to send mailers and how to sell. If you look inside the real estate investing, there's a lot of stuff on wholesaling though. You can still kind of like start to learn. Because a big thing with this land stuff is you could do the $0 marketing technique where you blow up Facebook groups and stuff as well for people that want to sell their land, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can get into it. If this is what you're interested in though, I would say give me like 2 weeks and the course should be like pretty solid in there. Sound good? And then we can also maybe I'll buy some land if you find some deals. So that'd be neat. If you want to work together, we can all do it.
Would you think that this would be something that a novice can do, or should I dabble in some other real estate as a newbie?
No, I think this is better because again, there's no there's no tenants, there's no like utilities or pipes that are going to burst. It's basically, you know, this is a business that you could, you know, anybody can do. You just have to basically have a little bit of hustle and be excited about it and just stick through the tough parts, right? And the hardest part is basically just sending the letters and then setting all your systems up so that when they call you, everything is like basically optimized, right? So that's basically it though. And I'm going to make the course so simple that anybody can do it. So yeah, you'll be able to do it. And I think this is easier than real estate. Like I said, real estate, people are so emotionally attached to their houses and their crap that whenever you're doing a deal, you have to dig through all that. You know what I mean? Whereas this is just land. It's just like dirt. And if you can get a good price on it where everybody's like, yo, that's a good deal, you know, you're on the right track. So that's what I would say. Cool.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you.